Hello, and welcome to Aftershock Online. Today, I'm extremely excited about our guest, Stephen. He is one of the co-founders of State 48 T-shirts and apparel. They're one of the fastest growing brands and one of the most identifiable brands in the apparel business in all of Arizona. They've got partnerships with the Phoenix Suns, the Coyotes, and so much more. I'm very excited to hear about their business, how they've grown, and what they're looking to do. So, Stephen, man, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and definitely looking forward to talking about the business and just catching up.
Yeah, well, and you say catching up. It's kind of funny. We saw each other at the Suns game maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh yeah, how you doing? And I forgot we had police science together.
Yeah.
Back in high school.
Yeah, so probably like around the year 2000, we we had a high school class. We learned about what it would be like to be a cop.
Right, and little did I know the guy that was trying to learn how to be a cop and the guy trying to avoid him at that point in time was going to be a successful entrepreneur of such an amazing company. So it's crazy how paths cross and come back together. So
yeah, definitely, and it's kind of cool that there's like a Chandler High connection there, because obviously me, myself, and my brother and my other business partner, we all went to Chandler High as well. So we end up with the business talking about Chandler High a lot.
Yeah, and we went back in the day when our sports teams were not the greatest.
No.
There was this other team we won't mention that happened to steal a running back at the time, and they dominated in football. So we weren't in the glory days of the sports or football, but today to see how far Chandler High has come in the sports world, it's amazing, especially to watch them win. It's pretty exciting.
Well, right, and it's awesome to see the city you grow up in start producing like NFL caliber players. Like that's awesome, and it ignites the like pride around the city of Chandler, and obviously we sell local pride. Like that's what State 48 is, right? Mm-hmm. And so to have that around you in Chandler and then help spread that throughout Arizona, like that's something we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys are all about giving back and keeping everything local. So before we get too far, I'd love to hear like the story. How did you guys get started, in the business? Where did the name come from? Tell me a little bit about that.
So my buddy Mike, who I had been friends with since I was 6, he and I were living together and working together, and he had always had the dream of wanting his own like clothing line or apparel brand. So he was kind of just brainstorming ideas, and I see this company online that like kind of does like these very like Detroit T-shirts and stuff like that. I had been following them on Facebook. I'm a big Red Wings fan, and they had made a really cool Red Wings shirt that caught my eye. Mm-hmm. So I kind of saw what they were doing for Michigan, and I was like, hey man, like what do you think about doing something like this for Arizona? And Mike, if you see him, he has like Pat Tillman tattooed on his arm. Every sports team is tattooed on his arm now. He's oozing with like local pride for Arizona, right? So he'd be the perfect person to partner with that for. So, we were kind of talking about different names, and I came up with State 48 when I was brushing my teeth, knowing that Arizona's a 48th state. Yeah. I think it's amazing how many people didn't know Arizona was a 48th state before us, because like a lot of times at events you see like the light bulb go off in their head, like, oh, that's what it means,
Right.
And so we brought my brother in to see if he could come up with a logo. Incredibly, the first thing he ever did in Adobe Illustrator is this logo that's on my shirt now, which has been our
staple.
Yeah, it's been our logo, and it's unbelievable how often you see it out in public. Mm-hmm. And so so we got 100 shirts and sold them out of our house, mostly using social media. At that time, you did not have to pay Facebook or Instagram for ads.
Right.
You just put stuff up, and if people liked it, they reached out to you. And so with social media, we grew our business really, really fast. It was clear very early on that like people really, really like this, and we can go really far with it. And that's what we've done.
Well, and it's funny too, because I'd started seeing your logo before I ever knew who was behind the brand. This is maybe you started in 2013, so it's probably around that time frame.
Right.
I started seeing decals on people's bumper stickers,
right.
Decals, T-shirts. And I'm like, where did this come from? And the next thing you know, I see the Phoenix Suns have a shirt, and I see Bruce Arians have a shirt. And I'm like, what is this? And then I find out, I'm like, oh, I know the people that started this thing.
Right.
So you started marketing on social media. What did that look like? What were you running? Not necessarily ads, but how were you getting the word out there?
Yeah. So for us, honestly, word of mouth was so just good to us in a way. I think Mike and I have a hospitality background, right? So we learned working in hotels that if you treat people the right way, even if your product is a little more expensive, or even if like just treating people the right way makes them want to come back. Period.
Right.
And so me and Mike really, really both were big on customer service. And so I think that helped out with the word of mouth, right? Like people would be like, oh wow, these guys are like awesome. If somebody didn't like something about their shirt, then we went above and beyond to replace it or do whatever we had to do so that like it would become a memorable experience. I always believe that if something goes wrong in an order, that's an opportunity to like wow people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was something that we were really, really good at from day one.
So yeah, at the core of your brand, you guys are all about customer service.
100%.
And
We're all about like treating people right, like making people like feel special, because like people remember that, like a lot of people will go and complain about places online. Rarely do people go and say like very good things about a place unless it's like an exceptional experience.
Mm-hmm.
So the more of those you can provide, the more likely you're going to get like those comments.
Well, and it's there's that old saying, you don't remember always what people say, but you always remember how they made you feel.
100%. Yeah.
And as a brand, if you can do that, I mean, it just makes so much of a difference.
Absolutely. Well, and then just being, like being authentic with people too, like we are 3 guys who did not have a college education. Like we all like did a little bit of college, but nobody graduated college, and we didn't know anything about the fashion industry. We just like had a good idea, and then we're like, we're gonna see how far we can take this, and then like we worked really, really hard to like make it work and learn as we went, and we didn't try to grow too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have grown fast, but we've grown at a pace that like we can keep up with. If we would have tried to grow too fast too soon, we would have failed undoubtedly.
Absolutely. Well, so tell me about that. In the early days, you were growing pretty fast. You did the first 100 shirts. Where'd you get the equipment, or were you ordering from somewhere else? And
yeah, so the first 2 runs of shirts, we just had a friend who do a screen printer. We did it like that, and our profit was still like pretty good in that. And then there was a guy staying at the hotel me and Mike worked at. He's a Canadian guy. He was an engineer, and he used to be in the t-shirt business. And he said, what you want to do is you want to get a heat press and transfers and not a screen printer, because you're going to have more flexibility. I remember one thing he said is when guys had a heat press, they'd always come to us with cash in their pocket and a smile on their face. When a guy had a screen printing machine, he would always come to us with a frown, something broken, and he was flat broke. I was like, okay, well, I know which one of those 2 I would rather be,
Yeah.
right? So we got a heat press, and we started ordering transfers, which is essentially they screen print onto a piece of paper, and in 8 seconds you heat that onto a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, we've actually gone back to doing more screen printing, because as we've growing your business, your product has to get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it has to be more, it has to withstand more and like last longer.
Right.
So there's no doubt that screen printing is a higher quality product, but when you're young and you don't have money and you don't know what you're doing, like the other way was way better and like letting our business grow. So I think that having that advice from somebody out of nowhere essentially really, really benefited our business.
I think that's a crucial point to starting a business too.
100%.
What you're going to do in 5 years is not going to be what you do in year 1.
Right.
Unless you're going to take out a big investment and you've got this huge business plan, which I don't know if you guys have
No,
that.
we didn't. Like I am very open about the fact that like we didn't know what we were doing at the beginning. Like we've learned as we've went. And I think that that's okay. Like I think I am very much a believer that like you go into a situation, you're either going to sink or swim, but you're going to figure out which one you're going to do pretty quickly. So I feel like we're all swimmers, right?
Yeah.
Like we're not going to like let each other down, and we're going to figure out a way to like make this work, whatever we have to do.
And it's just constant improvement and getting better in your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys have done.
Well, and that's why I said earlier, like when you make a mistake or something goes wrong, like that's an opportunity to make it right.
Yep.
Like I can't tell you how many times do you think somebody has emailed or left me a nasty voicemail about like something wrong with one of their shirts, but they're different when you actually talk to them. Like people can no problem leaving nasty voicemails or sending just passive aggressive emails. When you get that person on a phone and you're sincere and genuine about the fact that you want to make it better and you want to take care of that situation and do right by them, they're 100% a different person. Like they're blown away usually,
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
So one of the things I started to do maybe last year, and it was a friend of mine that told me this. He's a CEO of a company. He's like, man, stop answering emails from people that are angry.
Yeah.
Pick up the phone, call them.
100%.
Because once you get them on the phone, all that goes away. Because as humans, we want to be nice. I mean, to a degree.
Yeah.
And you can calm somebody down, but you can't do that through email.
You can kill people with kindness.
Yeah.
Like, you really can, like, just get to where you need to go being genuine and nice to people. And that's one of the things that, like, I live by, right? Like, if you are a pleasant person, like, people want to be around you, like, that's going to take you very far in life.
Absolutely. You mentioned you started this with your best friend and your brother.
Right.
And you've grown a great company. It's continuing to grow. Like, how did you guys establish roles, and what does that look like today?
Yeah, so a lot of it, we kind of just fell into the roles. So Mike was the last of the three of us to go full-time, so he could actually work his full-time job and still do a lot for us. You know, he spent like a lot of time on a computer, so having him do emails and having Hilton pay for that, like, benefit us greatly, you know what I mean? And I think that, like, my brother, for example, he's the talent, I always say, right? Like, he is very good with graphic design. He has learned that as we've gone. You know, he didn't know anything about graphic design at the beginning, but over time, he took the time to educate himself and do what had to be done so that he could be very good at this. And it's also, you know, like, something he's passionate about. He wants to get his art out. He wants to be creative. Like, that's how he expresses himself, right? Mm-hmm. So that's been just something that me and Mike can't do. Like, we probably wish we could do more graphic design, you know. We come up with clever little ideas here and there, but, like, Nick's the one who really, like, takes nothing and makes it something.
Right.
And so Mike and I have kind of divvy up the other work at first, but over time we've just kind of, like, Mike is very good at networking. That was something that was obvious very early on. He's good at going out, being social, like, just connecting with people. And so he's just been unbelievable at that. And I feel like my biggest strength is, like, when there is a fire, whatever needs to be done, like, I'll help put it out. Like, I feel like I'm very good at being like, what do you need me to do? Like, I'll get that done. And then now I kind of do the fulfillment side of things because Nick was doing that, fulfilling internet orders and stuff like that. But I realized, like, the best for our company is for Nick to be doing graphic design, doing more logos, more collaborations with other companies. He doesn't have time to be doing internet orders. I was kind of in a, you know, I used to do, like, just the people who sold our stuff. Mm-hmm. I used to really focus on that side of things, and I was like, I can do both. Like, I can help those people and also do the internet orders. And if that's what's best for our company, even though it's not, like, the most ideal job in the company, then so be it. Like, I can make it work, because the sooner, you know, like, the faster we grow, the more likely I'm going to be out of that role soon, and somebody else is going to be doing it.
Absolutely.
And that's about where we're at now, is where I'm, you know, looking to hire somebody to do the fulfillment. I'll still oversee it, but then if I can go out and kind of be able to do more of what Mike does, taking lunch meetings, meeting people, being more involved in that way, you know, because Mike's been great at making his own connections, but, like, we're different people. We run with different crowds in a way, and we have different passions in life. So if I get the opportunity to go do that same thing, be more involved with the community, stuff like that I like to do, then that'll only be more of a benefit for our business.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you guys have all really just stepped up where you needed to, and
100%.
You know, are using your talents, and as it grows, you reassess. What are some of the things you guys do as partners to help keep each other accountable?
So, yeah, I always joke, it's like a marriage in its own way, right? Like, we are tied together indefinitely, and we might not always see eye to eye, and definitely we don't. We're all three very different people. Even, you know, me and my brother are very different. We don't even look alike, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so over time, I think we've gotten better and better and better at knowing and respecting each other's, like, you know, pet peeves, but also, like, each other's time, right? Like, Mike will talk about State 48 anytime, anywhere. He genuinely loves State 48. Like, he puts everything into that, and I totally respect that. But, like, I like things outside of State 48. So over time, I think Mike has done a great job of adapting and knowing that, like, when I want my space away from State 48, I don't want to talk about it every single moment of every single day.
Sure, yeah.
And he does, and that's a difference. But, like, that doesn't mean one of us works harder than the other. Like, we're still equals, and it just means that, like, I have different things in life I want to do. Like I like to play hockey. I've been learning to play piano. Like I love my dog, like those things are important to me too. And so I want to be able to put time and energy into that. But that's tricky. Over time, you have to like learn how to do that. It doesn't just like naturally everybody just understands everybody, So I mean, we have definitely like all gotten into it at different points.
Which is
but
natural.
It's good. Like if all three of us were agreeing on every single thing, our business would have failed already.
Right. And you were able to learn to communicate that way and probably see an idea and be like, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from. I didn't see it that way. And, that's exactly it. I mean,
and the great thing about there being three of us is democracy rules, right? So like it's always 2 against 1 in one way. And, take for example, we did Phoenix Fashion Week in 2014 when we were first getting started. They had an emerging designer competition. And I did not want to do it. I was like, this is going to be a bunch of chicks making dresses and then us idiots making T-shirts. We're going to look so stupid. I've never felt so strongly about anything. We're idiots if we do this. Well, we did it because it was 2 against 1. And I probably took the most out of it. So it was like right there, humbling, like be more open-minded. You never know, right? And so we ended up getting second. We all feel we should have won, but like we didn't, and that's okay because I feel like we're probably doing better than the person who did win now.
Yeah, what are their names?
Yeah, right. I wouldn't say that.
No,
but yeah,
I can.
Yeah, you can. So anyway, so that's just a perfect example of how when you challenge each other, like it opens everybody's mind gets opened at different times to things that they maybe didn't believe in, but like we all have good ideas. And so we all need to respect that about each other. And you need to also accept that like you're a part of the team. Like Wayne Gretzky didn't score every goal for all the games his teams won. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's okay to get an assist and sometimes you don't end up on the score sheet, but your team still wins the game.
Yep. It's mission, men, self.
100%.
Now, the unique thing that I've seen happen, and I couldn't believe this, when you started your business in 2013, I grew up a Suns fan. I grew up a Cardinals fan. I grew up a Coyotes fan when we got the team.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly probably, the Suns, like the biggest thing, one of my dreams was to have season tickets. So I was able to do this year. And I'm like, oh, my God. And then I see State 48 has T-shirts with these companies. How did that transpire? And I'm sure for you, what was that like?
So first and foremost, it was a unique, different situation that got us involved with each team. So I can't really give somebody advice on how to do it.
Sure, yeah.
It's crazy. But for us, it's so humbling when the team you grow up rooting for turns around and invests in what you're doing and makes you a part of the team in an odd way, right? And so to see, like Suns shirts at Talking Stick or like, to be meeting and hanging out with the coach of the Cardinals and Bruce Arians at the time. Those are things I never, ever thought I'd have the opportunity to do. Like you, I'm a lifelong diehard sports fan. Like I always joke, like I have a PhD in sports. Like I know statistics, like for whatever reason, I'm really good at that. I'm just passionate about it. And so to be in a situation like that, and it's truly one of the most rewarding things about all this is to be able to work with those teams, meet players, meet people that you looked up to as a kid, and then to see like every time I see a picture of Luis Gonzalez, he's wearing one of our shirts. Like this guy had the game-winning hit in Game 7 of the World Series. This is the only championship this city's ever seen, and that guy likes what we do. Like that's like a real
amazing,
like aha moment. Like wow, like whatever we're doing is obviously working because like that's something I never could have dreamed of.
So what was your first breakthrough then in the sports world?
Bruce Arians.
Okay. We
came up with the coach shirt. Coincidentally, the Cardinals would then win 9 straight games, so it was a happy accident. I often say that if this city had a one season where everybody went to the playoffs, that would be life-changing for our business because we have persevered through some of the worst years of the Suns, some of the worst years of the Cardinals have the number 1 pick in the draft for the first time this week, right? So to have teams missing the playoffs and we're still selling apparel shows you how powerful like sports apparel really is, right? Because even when the teams lose, it still sells. Right. So I'd love to see what happens when it wins, just because the one year the Cardinals did win, we had our best sales ever on the Coach shirts, still our all-time bestseller.
Well, you and I both are praying for that moment when we have some decent
But sports are cyclical. Like it's gonna come back around. All of our teams are probably gonna be good at the same time. You look at the city of Boston in the last decade and a half. Every team has won, and most of them have won multiple times.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. What a life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. I mean, you look at the Suns. They got Ayton. Now they have an opportunity at another. They get the first. Pick.
They're probably gonna pick top three.
Top three, yeah.
I think they have a 14% chance at 1, 2, or 3.
Okay, and that's the thing. It's like they're gonna do well through the draft. The Cardinals are gonna get another draft pick. I mean, I have my preference on who they should take.
Yeah.
But it should help. Hopefully, they can all get back to winning. And yeah, I mean, for your business, it's kind of neat being directly affected.
Right.
But even as teams that aren't doing so well, you guys have persevered and exciting. So outside of sports, like what are some of the main things that you guys do with State 48 as far as apparel? And then what are some of the things you're doing right now with the community to give back?
Yeah. So shirts are always going to be our bread and butter, right? But we do hats, we do decals, like you said, stickers. And we've started to incorporate some of that stuff with our collaborations, right? So a lot of times when we do a collaboration with like the Humane Society, or we did something for the 20th anniversary of the light rail. I think it was the 10th anniversary. Anyways, the anniversary of the light rail.
Yeah.
We started to incorporate those stickers with the shirts that they purchase and stuff like that. But we're really big on giving back, right? So our shirts, whether it be with Humane Society or the Fiesta Bowl for the Wishes for Teachers grants, we give back $5 per shirt on the sales to those shirts. And that has been really, really great for helping make a difference. You know what I mean? I find that stuff very, very rewarding. So I want to continue to go down that road and do more of that, because when you're selling local pride, being very involved in your community is very important. Like, you're putting your money where your mouth is. Like, that's literally what you're doing.
And I know I've heard nothing but philanthropic things about you guys in the community from friends of mine, people that I know that are part of organizations. So you're doing a great job out there, which is tremendous. What are some of the goals? Like, what is the goal for State 48? What's your mission over the next several years?
So I think things in the future, I think we want to further a lot of the partnerships we have. I think it's become very clear, like people always ask, like, are you guys going to do other states? And it's like, you can't be like organically passionate about other states the way we are about Arizona. Like, this is our home, There are plenty of people here. Like, we can make a living doing this and never leaving this state. You know what I mean? And so I think getting more involved, we obviously are so heavy into sports, but I would like to get more into like personal causes myself, right? So like I'm a recovering alcoholic, so I'm super proud of that. And one of the coolest things about our business is that the two people that I do this with, my brother and Mike, they're the two people who also help me get sober. So I don't think it's an accident in life where these two people help me get sober, and then I come up with an idea that lets both of them chase their dreams. Like, that, to me, like, that's like one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced in life.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And so I want to do more in terms of like helping people get sober, speaking, and just like be more active in that. The problem is, like, I didn't go through AA, right? So like I just kind of did it on my own, did what worked for me. And I feel like in the same way that not everybody is a vegetarian, there are different things that work for everybody. It's not the same thing that works for everybody.
Right.
And so I'd like to just be more involved in that. Now, that's personally. If I can incorporate the company into doing that, which I feel like is very realistic, I would love to do that. But I think we all have different like things we want to attack. Like Mike has really, really developed like a knack for wanting to be more involved with like business and like business people. And like I think he's fallen in love with business in having a business, right? So, and that's great. And I know he wants to continue to go further down that road. And Nick just wants to do art,
Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah. But Nick's art has been awesome on our t-shirts, right? So like keep it up,
Yeah, that's it's amazing. And you never know the next blessing or the next breakthrough that you guys have. I mean, you're already broken through like crazy, but sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, like that question in a way is hard to answer because like at the beginning the answer was always like, we want to work with all the major sports teams. Well, like now we have, so now I just want to do more with them. Like I want to see our logo like bigger at Chase Field, like that would be cool, right? Like get to the point where you can, put something up on one of those panels.
That's awesome. So a couple of wrapping up questions.
Yeah.
One, what are a couple things you would give to a brand new entrepreneur that's starting their business? What encouragement or advice would you give them?
I would definitely, and not just to those people, but to anybody in life, like just be authentic, like be who you are and like embrace that, like I'm open about the fact that I'm a recovering alcoholic because that's what like made me who I am, right? And like you could be worried about like people knowing about that, but like I feel like that hurts you. If you're just open and honest and your true self all the time, that's actually going to carry into business very well. And people respect that and people buy into that. And, I always joke that I could never be a salesman in life, but like, that's essentially what I have done for this company. I walked into people's boutiques and were like, you should buy like our stuff. Our stuff is going to sell here. I know that. And most of that, I don't go in and say that. I go in and I just have a conversation with people. That's all it is. Like people are buying you. They're not buying a product a lot of times. And like that's why we've been so successful in large part because we're a good story. You know what I mean? Like we grew up together. We started this out of what was once my bedroom, right? Mm-hmm. And that has been just so important, just being ourselves. And we're all different, but we're all always ourselves.
That's awesome. I think it's important. You're right. Being authentic and who you are and understanding your talents and maybe things that you're not so talented about and finding people that can maybe complement those things that you're not as good at.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's exactly what you guys have done as partners.
It is.
Fantastic.
And then I would also say that something else I think is very important is just the value of customer service. I mean, you can genuinely improve your business or make your business successful by treating people right and by going above and beyond and by not always focusing on the bottom line, but focusing on the long term of how much your bottom line is going to grow if you make it a point to get every customer to come back with how you treat them.
Yep, I think that's huge as well. Are there any books or podcasts that you draw inspiration from or that you would recommend?
I honestly, I really like to listen to Mark Cuban talk. I don't really like, the only podcasts I listen to are usually like hockey. So I just look because I love hockey, right? But I would say I find people that I respect their views on life, right? So people who stick out, like to me, Chris Martin from Coldplay, if you hear him talk about music, he's so all over the map in the music he listens to and likes. And you can tell that's why he's good at what he does because he respects all of it. Mark Cuban, I think, is highly intelligent, but also like he's very like I like that he's so blunt about things. You know what I mean? Like I don't watch Shark Tank. Like I have watched it,
sure.
But I do read things he says about his basketball team, and I do follow things he says about business because I think he knows what he's doing consistently, and he's very like he's strong in his convictions, and I like people like that.
He's had a wide array of success for sure.
Oh, for sure. And but he's also had failures, right? And like, obviously everybody kind of loves Gary Vee right now. Gary Vee says just some of the realest shit. And like, I love that about him. But I can't sit there and just keep watching Gary Vee and he would tell you not to do that because then you're stopping yourself from going out and doing things, right? And so, so I would say like those three people stick out as people who I just greatly respect and like I just like to hear him talk. And even like hockey coaches, like sometimes their press conferences just valuable life lessons that are mixed in with, like what they're talking about.
Yeah, and it sounds like in everything you listen to, you kind of listen to with a filter of how you can gain value and give back as well. That's
well, right.
What I'm hearing.
I'm just big on the human element of things, right? Like I think in today's world, analytics are so prominent, and I understand why. But like if you take the best players and put them on one team and take some of the other hardest working players and put them on the other team, like the best player doesn't always beat the hardest working player, right? And so I think that in life, if you can find ways to like just take the human element and make it more prominent in different things that you're doing, I think people find ways to be successful, even if the analytics say it's unlikely.
No, I like that a lot. Yeah, I never doubt the heart of somebody
100%,
and the hustle. So that's great, man. Well, this has been awesome. Before we go, do you have any asks of our audience right now?
No, I just think that if there's something you really want to do in life, figure out a way to do it because it's really there. Nothing about what we've done is special. It's just that we never gave up on it, and we always found a way to make things work. And like sometimes you have to work a 22-hour day, and like that's just the way it is. But like you're gonna make it. You're gonna get through it. Mm-hmm. When you hit a rough patch, like you're always going to like persevere through that. Like when it comes to perseverance, like that's how we all got here, right? We persevere through so many different things, no matter who you are. Like you've gone through all kinds of stuff, but like you made it out the other side to be able to keep going with whatever you're doing. And I think we all wish we would have started our own business sooner because you see that like all it is just continue to keep going forward. And when you hit setbacks, you push through it. Absolutely. So I think anybody can do that in any facet of life.
I agree. Now you guys are an inspiration, and check out State 48 on Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter.
Twitter's
mostly about sports.
Yeah, and which is awesome. But check them out online. Take a look at their apparel. It's amazing. You probably already have some. If you have some, buy more. And thank you. So this is awesome, man, Stephen. Thank you so much for coming on today. I wish you and your partners tremendous success going forward. And it's so fun to watch you guys, and it's inspiring. So thanks so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, guys, with that, we wrap up this week. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you soon.